Not every dictator dies the same way. Benito Mussolini died in 1945. Benito Mussolini spent his final hours running. Not marching, not giving speeches, running. By 1945, fascist Italy was collapsing. The man who once promised a new Roman Empire was now hiding in a German military coat, trying to escape to Switzerland with his mistress, Clara Petacci. But near Lake Como, their convoy was stopped. Italian partisans searched the group, and then they recognized him. Il Duce, the leader, the man who once ruled Italy from balconies, was now hiding among German soldiers. Mussolini and Clara were captured, held overnight, and the next day, they were shot near the village of Giulino di Mezzegra. But that wasn't the end. Their bodies were taken to Milan, to Piazzale Loreto, the same place where Mussolini's regime had once displayed dead partisans. Now his own body was dumped there. Crowds gathered, people shouted. Some kicked the bodies, some spat on them. Then Mussolini and Clara were hung upside down from a gas station roof. The man who built his image on power became a public warning. Sometimes dictators don't just lose power. They become the symbol of everything collapsing. Adolf Hitler died in 1945. 2 days later, another dictator reached his end, Adolf Hitler. By April 1945, Berlin was surrounded. The Soviet army was closing in from the east. Across Germany, the Western Allies were advancing from the west. And Hitler was underground, inside the Vorbunker. Above him, Berlin was burning. Below ground, his world was shrinking. His commanders were disobeying him. Some Nazi leaders were trying to negotiate surrender. But Hitler still refused to accept reality. On April 29th, inside the bunker, he married Eva Braun. The next day, April 30th, 1945. Soviet troops were already close. Hitler had heard what happened to Mussolini, and he didn't want the same ending, so he chose his own, inside his private room. Eva Braun bit into a cyanide capsule. Hitler shot himself. Some accounts say he also took cyanide. Their bodies were carried outside, doused in gasoline, and burned in the Reich Chancellery garden, while Soviet artillery exploded around the ruins of Berlin. For years, rumors spread, but dental remains later confirmed the truth. The dictator who wanted an empire to last 1,000 years ended in a bunker, surrounded by collapse. He didn't die on a battlefield. He died hiding under the capital he destroyed. Hideki Tojo died in 1948. Hideki Tojo did not die during the war. He survived Japan's surrender. But not the judgment that came after World War II ended. General Douglas MacArthur ordered the arrest of suspected war criminals. Tojo was one of them. When American soldiers surrounded his house, Tojo tried to take his own life. He shot himself in the chest. But the bullet failed to finish the job. As he bled, he told reporters he was sorry it was taking so long to die. Then American soldiers resuscitated him. Tojo would not die in that room. He would face judgment first. Then came the trial. He was found guilty of war crimes. And on December 23, 1948, Hideki Tojo was hanged, just days before his 64th birthday. He tried to escape judgment once, but history still caught him. The bullet failed. The trial didn't. Joseph Stalin died in 1953. Joseph Stalin ruled through fear, and in the end, some historians believe fear may have delayed help. On March 1, 1953, Stalin had been drinking late with his inner circle at his Kuntsevo dacha, outside Moscow, his private residence, the place where he felt safest. Nobody could touch him here. Then he went to his room and disappeared into silence. Normally, Stalin's staff waited for him to call. But that day, no call came. Hours passed. Then the lights in his room turned on, but still nothing. No request for tea, no instructions, no voice from behind the door, and yet nobody dared to enter. Because this was Stalin, a man so feared, that even checking on him could feel dangerous. Some staff grew worried, others grew nervous. But fear won. So they waited, and waited, and waited. By the time someone finally looked inside, Stalin was on the floor, partially paralyzed, unable to call for help. He had suffered a massive stroke. And every hour mattered. Doctors came. But even that was complicated. Many experienced doctors had previously been arrested during Stalin's own purges. Now the country suddenly needed them. But time was slipping away. He lingered for days, unable to speak, slowly dying on a couch. On March 5, 1953, Stalin died at age 74. But even after death, chaos followed. His body was put on display. Huge crowds came to see him. The crowd became so large and disorganized that people died in the crush. And then came the rumors. Was he poisoned? Was help delayed on purpose? Did the people around him simply let him die? No one knows for sure, but the irony is unforgettable. The man who made everyone afraid died in a room nobody dared to enter. Rafael Trujillo died in 1961. Rafael Trujillo ruled the Dominican Republic like it belonged to him for 31 years. People called him El Jefe, the chief. His portrait was everywhere. His name was everywhere. Criticizing him could be dangerous, sometimes deadly. For decades, it seemed impossible that anyone could stop him. But on May 30, 1961, the hunter became the hunted. Trujillo was being driven on a highway outside Santo Domingo. Then several cars blocked the road. A group of conspirators stepped out. Many were military men. Some had once served under him. They opened fire. Trujillo reportedly tried to fight back. But within minutes, his car was full of bullets. And El Jefe was dead on the road. But even then, the conspirators didn't know what to do. They loaded his body into a car, and for hours, his corpse was kept in the trunk while they argued over the next move. A dictator who controlled a country for 3 decades ended as a body hidden in a car trunk. The man everyone feared was gone. Nothing looked the same. Mao Zedong died in 1976. Mao Zedong did not die in battle. He did not die in exile. He died after years of decline. While the public was told very little, by the 1970s, Mao's health was collapsing. He had heart and lung problems. He was a heavy smoker. And reports suggest he may have had serious neurological illness too. In 1976, it got worse. He suffered a heart attack in March. Another in June, then another in September. That final one left him unable to recover. On September 9, 1976, Mao died at age 82. But what happened after death was just as strange. Mao had supported cremation in life. Yet after death, his body was embalmed instead, placed on public display, and huge crowds lined up to see him. The man who shaped modern China became a preserved symbol of the state. Even after death, his body was no longer just a body. It became propaganda. But these dictators died decades ago. The next deaths are far more recent. Some were dragged from power, some died in hiding, and some met ends so shocking. The World Watch Live. That's in part 2. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for similar ones next.